going on, guys? Lawson Turner back with another episode of the Cover 2 podcast, and we're going to be going over last night's demolition. The demolition of the Denver Nuggets in Game 6. Minnesota crunched them by 45 points. They were up 50 at one point in the fourth quarter, and they forced Game 7, which should be a hell of a game. I knew Minnesota would come out with intensity and playing with their hair on fire. And in the first quarter, they were down 9-2, then rip off a 27-2 run. And from that moment on, it's like, well, Denver's just trying to catch up. Now, championship pedigree, best player in the world, they have things going their way that can force a little bit of a momentum swing back in their favor. And in the second quarter, it was only 11. And we've seen 11-point leads fizzle away just like that. But in the second quarter, Minnesota up 11. They go on a 13-0 run, and that stretches from 11 to 24, and the game is essentially damn. But it was still a 19-point game at half, and we saw Denver in the third quarter against the Lakers last series come all the way back. Now it's a different it's a different beast when you're playing the number one defensive team in basketball, a young superstar who wants it, and Anthony Edwards, who took a horrible spill last night, and when he fell down on his lower back and just kind of laid there for 2 minutes, I was nervous that it was gonna be. I thought he was gonna be done for the game and potentially Game 7 if Minnesota holds on. But he got up, stretched, and played well. After that, now let's dive into the players that I thought were so impactful for the Timberwolves. Minnesota, like, if they can get their core five, in my opinion, their core five are Anthony Edwards, Karl-Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid off the bench, and Jaden McDaniels. Now, Jaden McDaniels scored probably out of his gorge, but we've in Game 6 last night. But we've seen him in the first round have these high efficiency offensive games like he did, as I mentioned in the first series against Phoenix. He had 21 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 8 for 10 from the floor, 3 for 5 from 3, and he was outstanding. Not just on the offensive end, he was making it really tough for Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., who both played less than ideal offensive games. I thought even though Naz Reid was inefficient scoring, a double-double off the bench is great, and you had Cat chip in with 10 points, 13 rebounds. If you would have told me before the game Karl-Anthony Towns is going to score 10 points and Minnesota's going to win by 45, I would have said, okay, well, Aiden goes for a playoff record 65. Like, I thought Rudy had a really nice bounce back game defensively, and if Denver is going to win this in 7, Jamal's going to have one more of those, not hurrah games, but going 4 of 18. Now, I understand his calf's probably still giving him hell. His calf is probably still giving him, the fits. But you're playing. If you're good enough to play, not up to the 26 that you were, that we're accustomed to you scoring in the postseason, but 10 on 18 shots, 2 for 7 from 3, piss poor performance. Jokic, I thought he was bad. 22 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 9 of 19, which we just saw 40 points, 13 assists, no turnovers last game. They're going to need another one of those games in Game 7 to get over the hump, because this Minnesota team they're hellacious on defense, and Mike Conley coming back and playing Game 6, I thought was a huge sigh of relief for the Timberwolves because, like I mentioned in going over Game 5, he's that deep breath in Minnesota's locker room and on the floor, especially on the offensive end. He can get the Timberwolves. He can get them into a lot of their action without like the ball does not need to be in the ball does not need to be in Anthony Edwards' hands 100% of the time. He can give it to Mike Conley and say, "Go generate a good shot." And it's not you know, uh, Mike Conley is kind of the best point guard to put on this team, or a Mike Conley esque. He's undersized, but he's been that his entire career. He's good enough on the defensive end to where he can be pesky. Now, do you want him as your number one defender guarding Jamal Murray? No, but for everything that he's not defensively, he is all that and then some on offense when it comes to setting the tone, getting players in their right spots. Like I said, he's that deep breath, the big he's the big exhale of that team. And it's one of those where when he was out Game 5, you saw it. Because if Anthony Edwards wasn't scoring, which he wasn't doing a lot of in Game 5, they really had no. They hadn't. No one other than Ant could get anything going, and he did have 9 assists in Game 5, because they're hard trapping, get it out of his hands. Them being Denver. Now let's dive into some of the team stats. They destroyed Minnesota on the glass, 62-43. Only had one more offensive rebound, 11-10, and that led to 15 second chance points for Minnesota, while Denver only had 12. When you look at the turnovers, Denver had double what Denver had double what the Timberwolves had. Denver had 12 turnovers that led to 19 points off those turnovers for Minnesota, while Minnesota only had 6 turnovers that led to 2. Oh, I take that back. 3. 3 points off those turnovers. They won. They in Minnesota won the 3-point line. They won the glass. They won the fourth quarter scoring 29-9. And when you hold the Denver team, now they did wave the white flag more about halfway through the fourth quarter. They emptied the bench, but still holding that team to 9 points in the fourth. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm excited for Game 7. I think I'm going to pick Minnesota in Game 7. I just think that this is Anthony Edwards' time, and it feels like this is just a team that's not destined, but they go they go up 2-0. Then Denver wins 3 straight, and then Minnesota wins Game 6, and there's a Game 7 in Denver, and I'm excited. And that game is Sunday, and they don't have the time listed yet, but I know the world's going to be watching. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the Cover 2 podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at the Cover 2 Pod 26. Link will also be in the description to make it a little bit easier to find. As always, thank you for watching for the Cover 2 podcast. I'm Lawson Turner, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.